Good evening. You are tuning into AWANI Tonight with me, Soraya Mia. Court of Appeal to deliver Najib's much-anticipated verdict tomorrow. And Malaysia tightens SOPs for inbound travelers in light of Omicron. That's coming up. Additional precautionary public health measures will come into effect tomorrow for travelers coming into Malaysia in light of the Omicron variant. Among others, more tests will be required from travelers under the Langkawi travel bubble and the Singapore-Malaysia vaccinated travel lane. Meanwhile, all pre-departure tests before coming into Malaysia will also need to be done within 2 days of departure, shortened from 72 hours.
Meanwhile, Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said as of Monday, the UK, US, Australia, France and Norway have been put on Malaysia's travel list of countries that reported community transmission of the Omicron variant of concern. Malaysians and foreigners arriving in Malaysia from those countries must take a PCR COVID test 2 days before departure, another PCR test upon arrival in Malaysia, as well as wear a digital tracker upon arrival at the international airport. As for the Langkawi travel bubble and Malaysia-Singapore VTL travellers, they must test for COVID-19 every day for 6 days upon arrival in Malaysia.
The Court of Appeal has dismissed Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak's application to include fresh evidence in the SRC International Corruption Trial appeal. This means the court will deliver its verdict tomorrow as scheduled. A three-member bench chaired by Dato' Abdul Karim Abdul Jalil said the bench disallowed Najib's application as he failed to show the fresh evidence was not available during the appeal or that it was relevant and that the new evidence will create doubt in the prosecution's case. Najib was absent from the physical proceedings earlier this morning. Karim issued a warning for the former Prime Minister to attend the Zoom proceedings at noon or risk being issued an arrest warrant. The defense team had applied to postpone Tuesday and Wednesday's hearing after a member of their legal team tested positive for COVID-19. The government has gone back on its decision requiring all restaurants and coffee shops to obtain a license to sell liquor from next year. In a statement today, Transport Minister Datuk Sri Wee Ka Siong said the Finance Ministry had directed the Customs Department to cancel the directive to state governments and local governments.
Wee said he had spoken with Finance Minister Datuk Sri Tengku Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz, who confirmed the orders were sent to the Customs Department on November 23rd. Earlier, it was reported that restaurants and coffee shops must apply for a new liquor license from January 1st as part of a new federal government policy. The annual license fees would have cost between 840 and 1,320 ringgit. He also asserted that Malaysia is a multi-ethnic and multi-religious country where non-Muslims have the right to consume alcoholic drinks, and this matter must be respected.
Parti Sarawak Bersatu PSB will launch its manifesto for the Sarawak election this Thursday. President Datuk Sri Wong Soon Koh said it will be published via all newspapers and social media platforms in English, Malay, Chinese and Iban to make it easier for voters of various races in the territory. He added that the launch of the manifesto could not be conducted as usual to avoid gatherings involving many people and the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Soon Koh said the manifesto, among others, will touch on Sarawak's autonomy, educational and socio-economic reforms, as well as issues involving women, youth, corruption, culture and religion. Overcrowding in Malaysian prisons have become a cause for concern. According to Suhakam's Commissioner Jared Joseph, this condition contributes to poor living conditions for inmates, which may involve human rights violations.
The prisons were designed with a specific capacity. It's a gazetted detention facility which has a number. And but for example, Kajang or Sungai Buloh, it's now double the capacity. It probably was started with around 2,000 or 2,500. Now it's leading up to 5,000. Not because the prison department is forcing people in. It's because the courts decide and push and they just accept, So that then will have other consequences like if the prison facility space cells are designed for 3 people, now you may put in 6, 7. So already sleeping conditions, toilet usage, water pressure, designed for 2,000-3,000, now have to fit 5,000. So already we can do the math and realize that there will be a shortage of water pressure.
Gerald emphasized the need to better understand the composition of prison inmates. He said many of them were charged for drug use, but under current conditions, he questioned whether jail time is the solution.
60% of those arrested or at least charged and now serving sentence are linked to drug addiction problem. So I think the Commission, Suakam, and many other stakeholders are saying, is drug addiction a matter like another criminal? So you're a drug trafficker, that's a serious crime. Huh? That one, the might of the law should be used on you. But if you're an addict, habitual user, so then this an addiction is a health issue, a mental health issue. Maybe it's time we have to look at the management of drug addiction in Malaysia in a different way, and not burden the criminal justice system in the prisons for them to be jailed. Because what happens if they jail, they go out and the addiction is not resolved, you can only guess that it will be cyclical and they will come back.
We'll go for a quick break. Stay with us.
Amanah di tangan kita. Adat, budaya dan semangat menjadi kesinambungan perpaduan tanah air yang tercinta. Berteraskan adab yang terpahat di jiwa dan raga. Marilah bersama kita membina negara Malaysia.
Untuk memastikan Malaysia ada ke depan
dan maju. Induknya adalah Melayu.
Balik kepada Islam. Orang yang membuat polisi.
Kalau itu yang dikehendaki, fine. Mungkin kita berbeza pandangan.
Tapi kita mempunyai kuasa yang boleh menentukan budaya di masa hadapan.
Polisi yang mesra wanita, sudah tentu dia akan datang daripada pemimpin wanita.
Asrama Mahat Tahfiz Jawaban.
Bila sentuh soal berita, tiada masa untuk tunggu. Kepada anda kami bawakan fakta, susulan dan kupasan yang terkini. Tiada drama dan tiada pengulangan. Usah tunggu lama-lama. AWANI 7.45 lebih awal dari biasa.
Welcome back. Despite clear evidence on the impact of climate change, there are still naysayers who aren't convinced by it. Therefore, the effort in conveying the climate crisis message is vital as we attempt to spread the awareness. We speak to Nadia Ahmad Mazlan from Virtual Impact Storytelling in our network, or VISION, on how to do so. Under the VISION program, social entrepreneurs who seek to create impact are taught ways to promote ideas through storytelling to reach out to local communities and the larger society.
Our current network, we have a pool of people who are concerned about, social entrepreneurship, Some of them are working closely with the Orang Asli. Some of them are working with the B40. So we see that there is a high potential and chances and opportunity for us to be able to work with them closely. And when we go, especially when we go to their community, that is how we share the stories and also share to them how they can also create their own storytelling so that we can share even create even more awareness to the general public. We utilize storytelling in a way that we make sure that the message is clear. You must have a solid hook and understand the situations. It is better than you just, okay, join us. This is what we are doing. So we thought of using impact story. They can create like a storyline to get the participant hooked and then follow the whole process. And towards the end, what are they expecting from the story? So throughout the programs, we did share with them step-by-step process on how to create an impactful storytelling.
On the international front, China warned the U.S. that boycotting the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics will harm two-way dialogue and cooperation. Foreign Ministry spokesman Chao Liqian urged the nation to stop bringing politics into sports as it is against the Olympics principles. Yesterday, the U.S. announced it would not send officials to the 2022 Winter Olympics given China's ongoing genocide and crimes against humanity in Xinjiang. Athletes from the U.S. are free to compete in the Games, but delegates will not add up to the hype. Sending high-level delegations at each Olympics was always a tradition among the U.S. and other leading nations. New Zealand announced today it will also not send diplomatic representatives to the Winter Olympics, citing COVID-19 as the main reason. Deputy Prime Minister Grant Robertson said China is well aware of New Zealand's stand on human rights concerns and that this had nothing to do with the U.S.'s decision. Meanwhile, in Japan, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said the country will respond from the viewpoint of national interests. He said he will consider the significance of the Olympic Games and the significance of Japan's diplomacy without stating a clear stand on the issue. Myanmar junta-appointed Foreign Minister Wuna Maung Win held talks with Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen. This took place just a day after the military-led government sparked global condemnation for sentencing ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi to jail for incitement and breaching COVID-19 rules. Hun Sen previously said he would travel to Myanmar for talks in January and is the first international leader to visit the country since the military coup. He added that the junta officials should be invited to meetings of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN. Cambodia will be the chair of the 10-member bloc next year. With some ASEAN members angered by the junta's crackdown, its military leader Min Aung Hlaing was not invited to the annual summit hosted by Brunei last October. Dozens of Rohingya refugees in the UK and US have sued Facebook, accusing the social media giant of allowing hate speech against them to spread. They're demanding more than $150 billion in compensation, claiming Facebook's platforms promoted violence against the persecuted minority.
An estimated 10,000 Rohingya were killed during a military crackdown in Myanmar in 2017. Facebook, now called Meta, is accused of allowing the dissemination of hateful and dangerous misinformation to continue for years. Facebook has more than 20 million users in the country. For many, the social media site is their main or only way of getting and sharing news. In 2018, Facebook admitted that it had not done enough to prevent the incitement of violence and hate speech against the Rohingya.
In other news, Instagram today announced tighter restrictions on the social media application to protect teen users. This comes a day before Instagram head Adam Mosseri is due to testify in a congressional hearing about protecting kids online. Instagram and its parent company Meta were under scrutiny over ways services could cause mental health, body image, and online safety issues among young users. Mosseri is due to testify on Wednesday at a Senate committee hearing on the use of powerful algorithms that was accused of pushing harmful content towards children, driving them to dark places. New restrictions include tightening recommendations to teen users, as well as stop people from mentioning teens who do not follow them in the first place. Instagram will also start nudging teens towards a new topic if they dwell on it for too long and suggest they take a break if they have been spending too much time on the platform. The Parliamentary Select Committee on Health, Science and Innovation has outlined several parameters that must first be met before Malaysia can safely transition to endemic COVID-19. Tonight on Consider This, we ask Committee Chairperson Dr. Kelvin Yee about the PSC's recommendations. That is all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Get the latest news updates on COVID-19 and COVID-19 vaccines from astroawani.com and the Astro AWANI app. I'm Saraya Mia. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again.